so I'm gonna start dinner. We are having a pork chop casserole. We're gonna use pork chops, some apple pie filling, and some stovetop stuffing. So I've got my dish here. I'm gonna give it a little spray. Set it to the side. Well, actually I'm gonna set it here. And the first thing we're going to do is put our apple pie filling in the bottom of our dish. So I've got a jar here of homemade pie filling that I made from the apples we picked last fall. I'm just going to spread those around the bottom of our dish. And I'm going to set that to the side. I've also got my oven preheating to 400. And I'm going to get my skillet. I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in here. So I've got some flour in this dish, and I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. We're just going to stir this up. And then I have some boneless, thick cut chops, but you could use any sort of pork chop that you wanted. You could use bone in, bone out. These are bone out. And we just want to dredge our chops in our flour mixture. And then we're going to set it in our pan, and we're just going to sear these. While these are searing, I'm going to get my stovetop stuffing ready. Alright, so we need 1.5 cups of water and 1/4 cup of butter. So I'm using the stovetop stuffing mix that's made for pork, but I've used chicken in the past because that's the one that's normally the easiest to find. But it really doesn't matter, you know, they taste pretty much the same. So I've got my water and butter coming to a boil while I sear my pork chop. I flip these first 2 chops over, and I'm going to sear them on the other side. And once they're seared on the other side, I'm going to go ahead and just put them in this dish with my apple pie filling. Alright, so these have a nice sear on both sides, so I'm going to go ahead and put them in the pan on top of the apple pie filling. Oh, and my skillet is getting too hot. Alright, so here's my first one going in. water is boiling for our stuffing. I'm going to go ahead and stir my packet in there. We're going to turn our heat off, and then I'm going to put the lid back on, and we're just going to let it sit for at least 5 minutes, but that's about what it'll take for the pork chops to get finished. Alright, so these are nice and seared. I'll go ahead and put those in my pan. So now I'm going to take my stuffing mix. Just going to fluff it up a little bit here. And then I'm going to pour it around my pork chops. Alright, so my dish looks like this. So I'm going to put it in the oven and we're going to cook that about 30 minutes. We just want to make sure our pork chops are done. Alright, so we'll be back in half an hour to check on these and see how they look. Alright, so we're going to check our pork chops. Ooh, this looks so good. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. We want our pork to be at 165, so we know that it's done. All right, and I don't think that it is quite done. So we're gonna stick this back in. We're gonna give it 5 more minutes. All right, let's try this again. Oh, goodness gracious. It smells amazing. If I had an instant read thermometer, this would be faster, but I don't. So this will work. And we are not quite there. Close, but not quite. Oops. All right, we're gonna do 5 more minutes, and that should do it. All right, 3rd time's a charm. Let's see if this is it. All righty, there we go. Whoops, get off of there. Look at that. All right. So I also just warmed up some green beans, some home canned green beans. I need a spoon for those. Let's see. Alrighty, let's give this pork chop, on my plate. Let's give this pork chop a try. Ready?
Yeah. It'll be hot.
Oh, That is so good with that apple on there.
Yeah. Fantastic.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and eat our dinner, and I'll be back later. So I had a few peppers that needed to be used. So on this day, I decided to go ahead and cut them open, take out the seeds and the top, and I chopped them up and I put them on my freeze dryer trays. So I mixed them all up. I'm going to freeze dry this whole batch of peppers, and then I will have them to use in whatever recipe that I like. also had a piece of Parmesan that needed to be used, and since my peppers only took up 3 trays, I used the last tray to freeze dry that big hunk of Parmesan cheese. Okay, so today we are going to make some chicken marinade that we can put in our freezer so that we'll have marinated chicken ready. I can just pull it out first thing in the morning, let it thaw, and we can cook it whatever way we want. So I've got a bunch of chicken here that I'm actually going to cut into, I'm going to cut the fat off first, and then I think I'm going to cut them into some smaller pieces. And sometimes these chicken breasts that you buy at the store are humongous. I'm just going to put these in a bowl so that we've got all of them in there, so I know how many pieces I'm going to end up with. But like I said, first I'm going to cut this fat off. And I might pound these flat. That way they're easier to cook. And I'm not going to pound them super flat, just so that they're more uniform in their thickness. I'll get some plastic so I can cover that up. Oh my goodness, come on. Like that. So that's perfect. So by pounding these flat like that, they're going to be a more uniform thickness, and then if I want to fry any of them up or brown them up on the stovetop before I do something else with them, they'll already be kind of in that shape that you typically want when you do that, and I won't have to worry about trying to see, like this piece. This piece is ginormous, and so I won't have to worry about trying to pound them flat when they're already marinated and then I've got juice flying everywhere. Oops. So we do have our own chickens that we processed last fall. They were pretty small. It was the first year that we'd ever done them. We didn't really know what we were doing. But we froze them all whole. I wasn't thinking. We processed them to go ahead and cut the chickens, at least some of the chickens, into pieces. And so I've been mostly buying, oh my goodness. Most of the time I've just been buying chicken breasts when I want just a chicken breast. I did process a few of them, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago, into some pieces, but like I said, ours are pretty small. So We are doing meat chickens again this year. We've got our first batch coming, I think in June. And then we've got another batch coming in maybe August, I don't remember. But we're doing the Cornish cross, and then we're also doing the red, I get them from McMurray's. I can't remember what the other breed is, a red roaster or I don't know, something like that. Last year we did all Cornish cross. So I'm curious to see how the different birds, how different their meat is, and see if we prefer one over the other. I do also plan to take some of these chickens and cut them into pieces before I freeze them this year, so that I've already got these pieces that I want, and then I have some whole chickens. Also, if you've been following my jobless saga, I interviewed yesterday for a job that I really, really want. So any positive thoughts sent my way would be all right, I've got 2 more pieces in here to cut up, or to, you know, do what I'm doing with. I'm sorry, I've got 4 more pieces. I don't know why I said 2. I've got 2 here and 2 in the, goodness, my brain this morning. Okay, now I'm on my last 2 pieces. I'm going to wipe all this chicken juice off here and then sanitize this so it's clean while I'm working. I've got about 5 different recipes here, and I want to do 2 each. I don't know if I'm going to have enough chicken to do 2 of each of them. So we're going to start with our cilantro lime chicken. So I'm going to go ahead and mark my bag before I put anything in there. And I'm going to put today's date. And okay, I wanted to see if there were any cooking instructions. There's not. All right. Oh, I just said I was going to do 2 of them, and then I forgot to do the other one. Okay, so I have these little bag holders. Sometimes they work great, sometimes not so great, but we're going to give them a try. So you just open your bag up and stick the edges in these little clips. And then it'll help hold your bag open so that you don't end up needing an extra set of hands while you're trying to do this. So I've had mixed luck with this, so I'm going to go ahead and give these a try, like I said. All right, so for our cilantro lime chicken, we need a 1/2 cup of oil, lime juice, cilantro, garlic, cumin, salt, and red pepper flakes. So I think I'm going to pour the oil last because that's the heaviest and the one most likely to throw my bags off. So we need 1/3 of a cup of cilantro. And I don't have any fresh, which is what it calls for, but I do have some freeze-dried, so that's what I'm going to use. And I'm just going to chop it up a little bit, or kind of crush it up a little bit. All right, so that is about 1/3 of a cup. Now that I have cilantro everywhere, now I need 2 garlic cloves each. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and mince 2 garlic cloves into each bag. Alrighty, so there's our garlic. So we want a teaspoon of cumin, teaspoon of salt, there's our salt. I love the smell of cumin. And a 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper, a 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. I need to reorganize my spices so I can find them. All right, 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. There we go. And we need a 1/4 cup of lime juice, and this one's almost empty, so I'm gonna have to go down and get, yeah, I don't even have a 1/4 cup in here, so I've got to run downstairs and grab another lime juice. And this is what I love about having a food pantry, is that I know I've got the things that I need. Typically, I'm sure that I will run out of something at some point and have not replaced it. All right, 1/4 cup of lime juice. Okay, and then a 1/2 cup of oil. And the recipe recommends avocado or olive oil. I'm gonna use olive oil. All right, 1/2 cup of olive oil. Okay, so now that's all of our ingredients. Let me just make sure. Oil. Yes, so we've got all of our ingredients in here. So now I'm going to put some chicken, and I'm going to put 4 pieces in each bag. And I may not have enough to do all of my recipes, but that's okay. I'll do what I can. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so now I'm going to pull these out of this little clip. I'm going to go ahead and zip this closed. And we just kind of want to squish that around a little bit. And then we're going to freeze these as flat as we possibly can. All right, so there's one. So I'm gonna try and squeeze as much of the air out as possible. And then I'm just gonna lay them out flat. And then we'll freeze them flat. And then that way we can stand them up in our freezer if we need to. And they'll take up less space. All right, so that's the cilantro lime chicken. The next one we're gonna do is a honey mustard chicken. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark on my bags. The name and the date. All right, so we'll get these on our little bag holders. Maybe. We'll cooperate. There we go. Okay, so for these, again, I'm going to start with the dry ingredients just so I don't accidentally pull my bag down. So we need a half a teaspoon. Where's my half? Need a half a teaspoon of salt and a quarter teaspoon of pepper. So here's our salt. Quarter teaspoon of pepper. 1.5 teaspoons of finely chopped fresh thyme. I do not have fresh thyme or fresh rosemary. I have dried spices. So for each of these, we need 1.5 teaspoons. Just our half. So I'm using the half teaspoon. So that was our rosemary. Here's the thyme. All right, 1 tablespoon. Oh, let's do our garlic first. 2 garlic cloves, and I think I'm going to mince these by hand instead of using my little mincer. I'm just going to use the knife because the mincer is designed to take the peel off, and these are already peeled, so I'm losing some of my garlic. There's 2 garlic there. Then we're going to do a tablespoon of olive oil. And I'm just going to eyeball this. All right, and then we need a 1/4 cup of honey and a 1/4 cup of Dijon mustard. Oh! All right, there's our 1/4 cup of mustard. All right, so there's our 1/4 cup of mustard for this one. All right, and then here's our honey. All right. Whoa. Now that I've made a huge mess. Okay, and then we need, oh no, I got everything. Okay, honey, Dijon mustard, garlic, olive oil, rosemary, thyme, salt, and pepper. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and put 4 pieces of chicken in this. Whoops, see, this one fell. That's okay. So again, same thing, we're going to mix it all up. Just kind of squish the chicken in there. This one. Like this. And then, just like before, we're going to get the air out so we can freeze this as flat as possible. Okay. Next we're going to do, let's see. We're going to do a balsamic. So, just like all the others, I'm going to mark my bag. Okay. Half a teaspoon of pepper. Teaspoon of salt. Basil and oregano. So we need a half a tablespoon of basil. We need a half a teaspoon each of oregano and basil, which is good because I was using the oregano and not the basil. Three garlic cloves each. I've got to get some more out of my freezer. So I've got to let this garlic thaw just a little bit because I will not be able to cut through it like this. But it does not take very long. Let's see. It thaws really quickly. So we'll skip that, move to the next. 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Alright, so 3 tablespoons and 3 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. I love the smell of balsamic vinegar. Okay, all we have left for this now is our garlic. So let me see if I can do anything with it. Let me see if I can actually just mince these now. And I went back to my mincer since these are partially frozen, or mostly frozen. All right, last one. Oh goodness, it's hard when they're frozen. So there's that one. All right, so let's put our chicken in these. Let me see what I've got left. All right, so I just have 2 pieces of chicken left, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put 1 in each of these bags. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put each one of these on a cookie sheet, and then I'm going to put another cookie sheet on top of it. That way they don't freeze shaped together, if that makes sense. So I'm going to take these down and put them in the freezer. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm going to do one last recipe. This is a baked ranch. Where's my pan? I have 1 package of chicken breasts and 1 package of thighs. They're already frozen, but I'm just going to add them to this marinade. And as I thaw the meat, the marinade will go ahead and do its thing for this chicken. So I've got my thighs over here. Hopefully I don't get them all mixed up. And the breast pieces over here. So these are not going to freeze as flat because this meat is already frozen. And my scissors seem to have disappeared. So I've got to use these little kid scissors. That don't really work very well. Okay, so which one? Chicken thighs. Okay. So these are actually like thigh quarters, thigh leg quarters, whatever. Put that in there. Whoa! Maybe I won't do that yet because it's very heavy. 2 tablespoons of olive oil. A tablespoon of lemon juice. That's lime. 1 garlic clove, a little bit of black pepper. I'm going to use 1/4 teaspoon. It just says black pepper to taste, so I'm going to use 1/4 teaspoon. Then you can always pepper or salt something more if you need it. Garlic, lemon juice, olive oil, black pepper. Okay, and then the recipe calls for 1 1-ounce packet of ranch dressing mix. I have my own ranch mix here, and that is about 3 tablespoons. I'm gonna go ahead and add that into each bag. Okay, and that is all we need. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these thighs, leg quarters, whatever you want to call them, thighs and legs, in this mix. And I'm just going to squeeze out as much air as I can, since obviously I can't squish the chicken around. But when I'm ready to cook these and I thaw this will marinate this chicken, even though it's frozen right now. Put that one there. And then I've got 2 whole breast pieces. Maybe if I can get this. I really would like to know what happened to my regular scissors. I feel like I saw them somewhere, but I don't know where. Before I put these chicken breasts in here, I'm just going to kind of mix the ranch dressing mix, the powder, with the lemon juice and olive oil, just to kind of mix it all up. I should have done that with the chicken thighs, but that's okay. All right, so I'm going to put this in here. And I'm gonna, these, like I said, they're not gonna be flat because they were already frozen. Okay, so there are our chicken marinades. So we've got 2 bags of baked ranch, 1 thigh, 1 breast, 2 servings of the balsamic marinated chicken, 2 servings of honey mustard, and 2 servings of cilantro lime. So I'm excited to be able to try these out and see which ones we like the best. And then this fall, when I start processing our chickens, we're going to make some more of these, and we'll make the ones that we like the best, and we'll try some new ones. All right, so I think I'm also going to make some banana bread. We've got some bananas that are going bad. Actually, they're brown. I'm going to clean all this stuff up first, and then we'll get started on our banana bread. Okay, so I emptied my dishwasher, reloaded my dishwasher, put away everything my husband washed last night. So now we're ready to start our banana bread. This is my mother-in-law's recipe, and I have it tripled, I think, because I have a note here that says each recipe makes 3 loaves, and I don't need 3 loaves, I just need 1. So I'm gonna have to try to figure out how to divide this up. Okay, so we want to put in, oh goodness, 2/3 of a cup of vegetable oil. Oh my goodness. The lines are almost gone on this measuring cup. Thinking here how to do this. Let me just, 1 1/3 cups of sugar, and I have this recipe tripled on here because this is where I keep all my holiday baking recipes, and whoops, and I usually make three recipes because I want to give some of it away. So I just spilled sugar all over my counter. So there's one. Actually, it wasn't quite one. So I'm going to go a little over. There we go. So 1 3 cups of sugar. And 2 eggs. And I'm going to break these into this dish just in case. Whoops. So that's 1. And 2. All right, so now we're just going to mix up our sugar and our oil and our eggs. We just want to mix that till it's all mixed up. All right, we're going to add a little bit of vanilla, a teaspoon, and I'm not going to measure. So there's roughly a teaspoon of vanilla. Let me mix that in. All right, and then we're going to add in our bananas. And for each recipe, you need about 4 small bananas or 3 medium bananas. So I'm going to go ahead and peel these and just put the bananas in my mixer. I'm going to go ahead and break them kind of in smaller pieces. Oh, these smell so good. I put the peels in my compost, and now I'm just going to mix this up until the bananas are well mixed into our sugar and oil mixture. All right, so now we're going to add our dry ingredients. So we need 2 cups of flour. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, a teaspoon of baking soda, or I'm sorry, yes, a teaspoon of baking soda, not baking powder, and a half a teaspoon of baking powder. All right, and then we're just going to stir all that up. Whoops! We're going to mix this up in our bowl. And then we're going to add it to our banana and sugar and oil mixture. All right, whoops. So now we're just going to go ahead and let that mix. So while that's mixing, I'm going to get my loaf pan ready. So I'm just going to spray it bottom and sides with some spray. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some flour and kind of spread that around. Alright, so our pan is ready. Ooh, that smells really, really good. Oh my gosh, I made a mess. Flour everywhere. All right, so that is mixed. I'm just going to give this a stir with my spatula here and just make sure that that flour that I dumped in there by accident is going to get all mixed in. Oh my gosh. All right, now I'm going to put this in my pan, and I just realized I did not preheat my oven. But that's okay. We're going to get this in our pan. All right. So we're going to preheat our oven to 350, which obviously I should have already done. So when our oven is preheated, we're going to put this in and we're going to let it bake about an hour. It's going to take at least an hour. Might take up to an hour and 15 minutes. So we'll check it after an hour and then just kind of see how it looks, and then if we need to add more time, we will. So I'm going to go ahead and let that preheat, and then we'll get that started. All right, our time is up. I did end up covering this, oh darn it, with some foil. Oh, I still don't think it's done because it was getting really brown and my foil stuck, so that's disappointing. I meant to just tint it over there. Let's try this again. So it's not quite done. So I'm going to put it back in. I'm going to set a timer for another 10 or 15 minutes. I think I'm going to do 15. And we'll be back when that time is up. Okay, this, I think this might be done. Oh, yes, it is. All right. All right, so we're going to set this on a cooling rack, and we're going to let that cool about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we can pop it out of our pan, let it finish cooling, and then we can give it a taste. All right, so we're going to go ahead and dump this out. Oh, it came out so pretty. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut a piece off of here. Oh, look at that. It smells good. Let's take a bite here. That was really good. Oh, goodness. Oh my gosh. Okay. That is really, really good. I'm glad that I went ahead and did that today. My husband will be happy when he comes home and sees it as well. So that's going to do it for today's video. So I just want to say thanks for spending time with me while we went through all of these recipes. I really appreciate the time that you spend with me while I cook or bake or garden, whatever the case may be. And if you like this video, please hit that like button, share it with your friends. And if you're not subscribed currently, I would encourage you to subscribe, and then you'll get notifications whenever my new videos come out. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video. Thanks. Have a great day.